I'd like to invite you to explore with me for a few minutes. And with your permission, I'd like you to think about what comes up for you in response to this invitation. How does my voice land for you? Is there a space in your body that you can feel a connection with? Visually, what is coming up for you? How are you responding to that stimulus, the colours, the textures? Is there anything about my body language that creates a shift for you? Noticing, registering, tracking whatever comes up, giving permission for it to arise, not to try and analyze it or to assess whether it is right or wrong or good or bad, just noticing. What does this experience feel like? What does this space evoke? If you were to do a body scan right now, and just to, in your mind's eye, track up and down, feeling into what the messages of the body are, what those communications are, what is coming up for you. How clear is that signal? Are you able to tune in and to listen and to interpret and understand those signals and messages, or is there distraction? Does this come with resistance? Is it a challenge that feels like it is too much? Does this feel invasive? Just meeting these questions, exploring them. Giving yourself that space of honouring what is coming through, knowing that you can take these things away to come back to at a later time. If something has popped up that you feel is worth closer examination, or made you kind of pause and think, oh, that's interesting, you have permission to gift yourself that space and time. You have that power and that autonomy. Just as in this space, you have the power and autonomy to decide to engage and to explore and experiment. And if you were to go one level deeper right now and to make a tangible connection with your body, maybe by bringing your hand to your chest, bridging that connection with your breath, trying to sense if there is an anchor, or you feel grounded in this moment, or you feel maybe abstract, floaty. What does this small gesture and movement and contact offer you? Does it offer you presence? Does it offer you something of a different quality? And with all of these invitations, also interesting to explore, does this make me feel self-conscious? Do I feel like I have to shrink around and protect myself and kind of conceal this moment of intimacy and recognition of self? Or can I sink into it and be with it in a more present, full way? How might that feel? And can you begin to explore with that quality of expansion through the breath and how you're choosing to explore your relationship with breath? How expansive that breath can be, how nourishing that breath can be. So from this position, you can go forward in whatever direction of travel feels most supportive and most helpful to you. You have been creating this anchor and this connection. If you've been choosing to engage with this and respond to these prompts, but it is a process of self-exploration where you've allowed there to be some permission given to a guiding quality, and also moved into a container where there's been some space holding possible. So the transition for you now is about whether you want to stay connected to this space that you have been working with and extend that practice and move into maybe some other route ways to kind of explore and experiment, or just to bring this brief journey to a close by connecting with the hands, maybe adding some pressure, affirming that you're in your body, affirming that the feet are on the floor, connected to the ground, affirming the space that you're in, the surroundings, the noises, the sights, the smells. You get to decide when to disengage and disconnect, if that is what you choose to do. And framing it in this way because I want to offer that reminder that it is a very vulnerable and sacred thing to gift your energy and attention to somebody else and to place trust in them to be able to hold you in a way that feels like you can respond at your own pace, in your own way, and that there will be no ill consequence of you saying, nope, this is not for me, this doesn't resonate, I don't like the sound of that person's voice, it doesn't make me feel safe. So that discernment, we can play and explore with that relational safety of being held by someone else. And if we have a really positive experience that helps us to feel like we can make that distinction between this is mine, this is theirs, I have choice, they are helping or supporting or holding or guiding or prompting. That can be a practice ground for us. And why not draw out that awareness and information that we have about ourselves and how we respond when we feel safe and connected and supported, to tell us in a situation, in a conversation, when something doesn't feel right. So that rather than the desire to move away from that discomfort actually leading sometimes to inadvertently kind of self-suppressing the signals that our body is giving us, we don't need to necessarily unpack the reason in that moment, but it is telling us something. So if we disengage through a pulling back or a stifling of those signals and dismiss what is coming up, we can go into this territory of crossing our own boundary in the name of tolerance, in the name of staying in a space that is not supportive to us in that moment. So there are opportunities to meet and dialogue with those signals and indicators, to begin to ask, okay, why don't I feel good? Why don't I feel safe? Is this about me? Is this about the space that is being held or not held, or the way it's being held? Is it the environment? Is it something I'm carrying with me, that I'm connected to, that is influencing and shaping what is going on right now? These are all really important questions. They can't necessarily be addressed from a place of distress, but it is also important that we feel that we can meet those challenging invitations to kind of go a bit deeper, be more inquisitive, in the name of supporting ourselves to know ourselves better, to understand our needs better, to feel more confident to express those needs to others, to feel more able to articulate when something doesn't feel right. Because we're in this process of connecting with a trust of the signals and the messages as a first point of exploration. I feel uncomfortable acknowledging that, meeting that, not stifling that. What is causing the discomfort is the next layer, and the next part of the process, and that could be a long and winding process. It could be something simple that can be addressed in the moment. So that is the exploration of the individual with the tools and resources that they have. But there's this sense of, first we need to reconnect with that trust of what is arising in the first instance. Because then we are better able to communicate that, either on a self-acknowledgement level or in a way of sharing, disclosing, asking for support directly, or acknowledging, this is something that's coming up. Don't have the tools or skills to understand what this means, or whether this is threatening, or this is something that I should be concerned about. And then we can work in cooperation with those that we feel are best placed to help us. But then we still come back to this practice of listening all the time to the signals that are coming through, because an offer of help, a space that is held with the intention of being helpful, if that space ultimately isn't designed in a way that has capacity to hold us in vulnerability or in a state of distress, distrust, that is difficult. And it's difficult even to enter into those spaces with an openness and a receptiveness to receive from others when there are prompts or indicators that are inviting that defensive mechanism to present itself. So if we have this training space where we are cultivating this and strengthening this connection with, I know what this feels like when I feel supported, when I feel like I'm being held, when I feel like I'm being heard, when I feel like I'm being given room to come to my own decision or conclusion without pressure or demand. When we pour into that space and we create a template and a reference point as a guide for us that it's visceral, it's emotional, you can feel it in the body, it is accompanied by certain qualities of thought, once you have an understanding, at least on some level, of what that is like, moving into a space that claims to be supportive versus maybe feeling an incongruence or something that does not align for you, just because the space says it's supportive, it might not be for you. That might not be the right person for you. That might not be the right program, the right facilitator, the right classroom, the right support worker. And this crucial piece about autonomy is massive, because we have to be able to feel like we're not backed into a corner. There's an offer of support there. But if that is not a good match, that support is not going to be able to facilitate an experience that is restorative and repairing in its quality. It will be reinforcing barriers and a sense of distrust and a sense of, I can't say no to this. I'm not allowed to. I don't want to upset anyone. And you are allowed to say no. You are allowed to maybe upset someone because you've chosen to say no. That is your power of choice. But we often need to do the exploration work around that very piece, so that when we come to check in and interpret what is arising, that we can discern, like, yeah, this is good, this is comfortable, this is supportive, this is invitational, I like this, I feel receptive to it. Or the other side of that, which is doubtful or fearful, or no, there's something not right here. Might be intangible, but if there's something not right, it's a no. And we deserve, on an individual level, we deserve to be able to honor that no. So if you are still watching this video, I would be really interested to hear your experiences, and also with the kind of wider framing of that and those reflections as well. How is that sitting for you? And if this work, if this quality of exploration and dialogue with selves is resonating with you, and you feel like that this could be a beneficial space to be held in, and you're interested to learn more about what that might look like, then I invite you to go over to the website, have a look on the services page, have a look on the resources page. There are self-study resources. There are opportunities to work with me on a one-to-one basis. If anything's coming up and you would like to learn more about how I hold space and what a session could look like, and if this work appeals to you, or if this portion of what I've shared with you today feels good, do get in touch, and I hope this was beneficial for you.